The two rich elitists were led to a back room where they saw one of the slave pen women. She backed into a corner yelling in her own language, driven by an ungodly fear at their approach. "We'll be taking her with us," Lord Bristol declared, as if that was an absolute. Though Woody couldn't outright say he was scared, when he saw the woman's reaction, he steeled himself and spoke up. "You won't, and I don't care how much money you have. If you have lawyers, I suggest you get them. Until we know who she is and why she's here, she stays with us." Ilsa stepped up as if she was going to do something aggressive, perhaps bare her teeth, and not in a legal way. Woody put a hand on his gun, feeling the tension ratchet. "You got one, lady?" Woody said, as if she had to know how close to the line they were coming, rich or not. Ilse growled low in annoyance, but backed away with Lord Bristol, knowing what she'd have to do if he drew his weapon. Lord Bristol forced out a smile and said, "You'll be hearing from our attorneys." "Yeah," said Woody, as if he didn't doubt it one bit. When Ilse and Lord Bristol begrudgingly left, Woody and Odell relaxed. "Assholes," said Woody. "But you're still cashing that check," Odell said with a smile. William sniffed at the air inconspicuously. He and Corona were on the campus of this town's only college. "She seems stronger here," said Corona. "Agreed," William replied. "I'll check the East End and the sports facilities." "Why do you know this place?" "I go to school here." "Why didn't I know?" "Why didn't you know?" Corona spit back sarcastically. The silver-haired woman wandered off, blazing a trail in another direction. William scoured the university building and happened to see Atara in a rec room where she was speaking with college students. Atara saw William and got a tense feeling of unidentifiable dread. All the college students felt the subconscious shift in mood and looked to William standing in the doorway waiting to be acknowledged. "Do you know this guy?" said the bravest kid of the bunch. "Yeah, I do. Excuse me for a minute," said Atara, knowing that it was best not to air the family's dirty laundry in public unless she didn't mind bodies dropping, turning that dirty laundry red with blood. Atara calmly stepped outside with William. "Why are you here?" Atara asked. "You can speak plain to me. Out of all the others, I expect you to do that at least." "You freed the cattle." Atara bit her lip as if she had made a miscalculation that William didn't understand. "How did they find out?" "I don't know. I didn't ask. You've gotten away with this before, haven't you?" Atara paused a moment as if deciding if she should answer truthfully, lest she may need to change things up if she did it again. "It's easy to confuse him when we've got new batches." "I don't know if you'll get off light this time. There was talk of replacing you." "They say that every time. I'll survive this. I have to, for the sake of the damned." "If you ran, I wouldn't blame you." Atara smiled, glad to see William cared enough to give her the option. "But would you stop me?" William didn't answer. "What are you doing here?" said William. "I like being around children like this. Their ideals and hopes, they aren't beaten down by life. For them, everything is still possible. They were like we used to be, before we knew what would happen to us. We would have always been in the family, even if we never turned. Even if Pack is much better than being in the extended family." William let that statement sink in. She knew how disagreeable it could be to be family who had never turned. "We should go back now," William suggested calmly. Corona walked down campus stairs when they were going up. "Thanks for telling me you got her," Corona said with annoyance. William shrugged. "I see you finally showed up, you goddamn hippie. You're like a wolf with no teeth," Corona taunted. "You may be Ilsa's favorite, but I'm still your elder," Atara reminded. "Not after tonight. I see you chained in the attic tonight." Atara growled at Corona's youthful insolence, even though she was probably right. She didn't have the seniority to say things such as that to her. "Well,
maybe I should make the most of it,"
Tara said in a voice that deepened from the internal ripples of a transformation. Atara began to grow more hair. Her height increased. Her presence became more menacing and final. You wouldn't dare, believing that her good relation with the matron of the house exempted her from getting her ass beat.
Watch the door, William.
Atara said, as if about to teach class. William stood next to the door looking around for cameras. As he detected the digital electronic eye, he jabbed a finger its direction and used a force of will to burn it, something he had mastered that not many could. Atara hit Corona in the face with a club-like fist and a transformation closer to man than animal. Corona started to understand the assignment and realized she was not about to wiggle out of this fight. She changed into a white wolf as quickly as her body would allow. Atara rolled and growled, jockeying him for bestial dominance. Atara slammed Corona in the wall, even though she chose to take the form of the dire wolf. She quickly transitioned to the ground and poured on top of the insolent girl, forcing the white wolf to transform into something more human and more capable of pushing off of the ground from her mounted position. William was fine with it all, so long as neither of them introduced their war forms into the mix. In that form, there were no more family ties or agreements of civility, only rage and destruction. So, as long as neither chose to destroy the other, a fight was a fight. William broke in with a sharp whistle, telling them the fight was over. Both women quickly reverted back to their frail human forms. 3 college kids unwittingly wandered onto the staircase, having no idea this was the battleground of a superpowered smackdown seconds before. Corona and Atara smiled at the kids, mounted on top of each other in clothes torn and useless, as if they could sense that this was most likely not a good time to ask questions. They minded their own business and kept it moving. As the door slammed and they made it to the next level, William growled to Atara and Corona as if to tell them this fight was over, unless they wanted to deal with him too. "We don't need you, whore. I can do what you do," Corona said while rolling away from Atara. The slightly older woman laughed at her statement as if it were the peak of comedy. "You, a purifier?" "Come on," William cut in, indicating they had outgrown this location and needed to move along. Corona arrogantly seemed as if she didn't want to walk with them, as if she were better than their lot. William grabbed her elbow violently, reminding her she was family. She didn't get to act better than them when the fight ended. William changed the subject and directed his attention to Atara when Corona settled. "So you love humans?" "I wouldn't say I love them, but I care for their well-being. They aren't farm animals. They are a part of us and should be treated as such." "Why did you ask me about that?" said Atara. "Curious," was all William said in response. "What were you talking about?" said Corona, reading some sort of subtext. Neither answered, each for their own reasons.